To speak to our correspondent Chris Moore, who joins us from there. So, Chris, of course, the headline story there, if you like, is that dramatic rise of the Brexit Party.
Yeah, and you can't really disagree with Nigel Farage's assessment of why 1 in 3 voters chose a party which, as you heard, didn't exist 6 weeks ago, which lacks a lot of the traditional campaigning apparatus and campaigned really on a single issue, namely Nigel Farage's desire to punish the Conservative government over what he sees as a betrayal, namely its failure to lead Britain out of Europe by that March deadline. So the right-wing press here leading on that very line. You can see the Daily Express here, which apart from Elton John, leads on and now give us the Brexit we voted for. We were out in Essex last week. That's a county to the east of London, which contains several Brexit heartlands. And really, we saw this borne out there. We met a lot of people who support Farage, either in the incarnation of his current party, Brexit, or its previous one, UKIP. But we also met a lot of people, Conservative voters, many of them lifelong Conservative voters, going out and taking part in a poll which they didn't even think should exist to deliver a bloody nose to the Conservative government.
Chris, it's not the whole story, though, is it? I mean, that might be the headline, but it was quite a big night for the smaller parties. That, of course, means, in effect, for the Brexit Remain campaign.
That's right. The Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, saying all of this was effectively a second referendum on the Brexit issue. It was a great night for the Liberal Democrats, who came in second. They managed just 1 seat last time round. If this poll shows anything, really, it's that on the Brexit issue, the UK remains very divided, but that also perhaps the pendulum is swinging towards Remain. That vote split across a number of smaller parties. And the parties that have been punished are the ones which equivocated. We were talking just there about the Conservatives. It was, as you said, not a great night for Labour either. They came a distant third. All of this borne out in London, where those 2 big traditional parties suffered and where the Liberal Democrats did very well. Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour leader, well, he's equivocated. He's sat on the fence over Brexit, and he's now likely to come under increasing pressure, not least from his own MPs, to back a second referendum.
And just finally, briefly, Chris, a lot more pressure as well on the Conservative Party as well, presumably. I mean, we all know what's happening with the fact that they don't actually have a leader in a few weeks' time because Theresa May is stepping down, and these results really a disaster for them.
Absolutely, yes. And Conservative MPs last week really preempting all of this by moving to push Theresa May out. That said, on the Brexit issue, well, the mathematics in the building behind me, Parliament, they haven't changed. There's no overall majority for anything. But the MPs, of course, did vote, saying that the last thing they want is a no deal. And all of that is going to come into play, as you see, particularly the more Brexit-minded side of the Conservative Party, the likes of Boris Johnson, pushing in that direction. The more moderate members of his own party, and behind that, the more moderate members of Parliament and the nation at large pushing back against it.
Chris, thanks very much. Chris Moore, our correspondent, speaking to us live there.